Good morning from Melbourne. It's 7 a.m. on Sunday, and I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes before I introduce what the stream's about. I'm still waiting for my guest backstage, and keeping an eye on messages in case there's a technical issue. All right. Yeah, you'll have to explain duck, duck, goose. I guess you were watching Rich before you came here, maybe. Kelly, I'm always the goose, very seriously. Good evening or good night in Portugal. I guess it's quite late evening. I'm just going to refer to you as Na because I'm not sure how I would pronounce that MGN. Thanks, catch my whiff. I wish I had some pep in my step, but maybe later on after I've had a nap and more coffee. Yeah, so for the people that are already on here, a couple of weeks ago, my friend Khos, who's going to be joining me very shortly, and I can see that he's waiting backstage, sent me some samples, unidentified samples. I got 5 little sprayers just with a number on them, and they're obviously from his collection, I'm guessing, and I have been smelling them through the week and taking note of my impressions of them. So I haven't tested them thoroughly. If I wore them more often, my opinion could change about some of them. But basically what I'm going to do is introduce you to Khos in a moment, and then I'm going to go through each sample and literally, I will sniff them again, but I'll read what my very first impressions were because I've noted them all down, and then I might do them. I don't know. I'll work it out with Khos when he comes on. I might do them all, and then he'll reveal what they are, or we'll do them one at a time. But I'll just say hello to a few people. Whereabouts from the US, catch my whiff, if you want to disclose. Hello, Jonathan. Kate, it's lovely to see you. And Michael, hello, welcome. All right, so I'm going to bring Khos into the stream. Now, Khos is a friend that I've made through FraidCom, basically, and I know that we've kind of known each other and spoken to each other probably since the very early days of my channel. He lives in a different state to where I do, and we've only had the chance to meet once, actually, when he came down to Melbourne. So without further ado, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well, but I don't know if everyone else can hear it, but I've got a bit of an issue with your audio. It's crackling a little bit.
Is it? How is it?
It's just got like a bit of distortion to it.
Okay, 1 second.
So, yeah.
What about now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, I will take these out.
All right, excellent. Yeah, so I was just saying, Khos and I have actually known each other for quite a few years now, since the early days of my channel.
2017, I think.
Yeah. So, and so, as you would have heard, because I've just been explaining what I've been doing with the samples that you sent me. So before we start, would you rather we reveal one at a time, or I give my impressions of all 5 and then do it?
What do you think would be better? One at a time. Let's do one at a time, I reckon.
Okay. And should I do in order from least favorite to most favorite?
No, just do them in order, like
in the number order.
Yes, in the number order.
Okay, all right. So they're basically ordered 1 to 5, and I'll just say hi to a couple of people. Hi, Joanna. Hello, Rachel. And Catch My Whiff is from Massachusetts. Nice. And Kate says,
Yeah. Hey,
all
Kate.
good. So is the audio still buzzing for everyone? It looks like it's been fixed. It sounds better to me. So hopefully that should be okay. All right. So, hi, Thomas. All right. So let me start with number one. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this on, Khos, and then I'll sort of start reading the notes because I made a bunch of notes for each of them from my very first impression. All right. So this one here. I should disclose to everybody. So Khos only gave me one clue about what might be in these samples. And I know that one of these was the new Habit Rouge flanker, the Rouge Privé. So having said that, I'm testing number one, and I'm going to say straight out and put myself out on a limb here that I think number one is the Rouge Privé because it just like has all of that Habit Rouge DNA. So, but I'm going to spray it on, and I'll read you exactly what I wrote about it. Yeah, I mean, if it isn't, I'd be so surprised. So what did I write? So based purely on the opening, I would say this is a new Habit Rouge flanker. It's got that very similar citrus opening, dusted with vanilla, like the vanilla is still there. And it's probably a little bit spicier. Now I know I'm getting ahead of myself here and thinking, all right, well they've put a ginger note in this perfume. I'm not going to sit here and say it smells all of ginger, but the citrus definitely feels spicier to me. And I don't think that the major difference in the opening of this to the regular Habit Rouge to me is the original feels a bit more, I mean, for want of a better word, more voluptuous, whereas this feels kind of drier and more refined. And after a while, like what I'm trying to say is that this actually kind of feels like a more modern Habit Rouge, and a little bit later I started to smell a very light leather accord. There was some florals that came through. It's not as, I don't find this as powdery as the original. It's got a bit more earthiness in the base notes as well. But
something mentholy almost.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't like pick that up, but it definitely feels like the best way I can describe this is, for me, when I'm wearing the original Habit Rouge, like it kind of does this on my skin.
Yeah, it's diffusive, yeah.
Whereas this one like just goes, it's like it's more, it's tighter, you know, like it's everything is just a little bit more refined, and that's why I think it feels like a modernized version, and it's kind of sort of changed the things that a lot of people would describe the original Habit Rouge as a little bit dated, and I feel this is a bit more modern, but I could be making a complete fool of myself, and it's not Habit Rouge Privé, but maybe you can confirm it for me.
So you're absolutely right. It is the new Habit Rouge. I get a lot of that leather, to be honest. I think the recomposition, or what they've done with it, this is my favorite version now. Like,
I have to say, I really like it too.
Yeah, but I think she's done so well with it. It's Duffingelic,
yeah.
So this is blind buy for me, and it's all because of you. So I remember I got a sample of this, and yeah, it just, it's horrible to say it, but I got, a lot of people describe fragrances as grandma, or it smells like an old lady. I smell old man with this, But I revisited it because you kept bringing it up in your videos, and I thought I'll give it another go. And now I really like it. I think I prefer it to
The
Heritage.
origin. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so that's my EDT of Heritage. That's a 90s bottle. This now smells so much soapier to me. It smells, yeah, it's still great. Like, I love this. But I prefer wearing this. I
Okay.
prefer wearing Abbey Rouge.
Abbey Rouge.
And I never expected,
So your bottle of Rouge Privé, is that 100 ml?
Yeah, I think it only comes in 100 ml. I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure if I hear that it's not gonna come here, like retail here, I'm gonna start to get a bit of FOMO about it, and we'll have to find.
Well, I'll
where I
send you
can
a
get it.
decant if you can't. Yeah.
Well, let me see if I can find it. But yeah. I like there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. To me,
Yeah.
it's a real flanker in that
Mm-hmm.
it does recall the original Habit Rouge,
Yeah.
but it's different as well.
I agree.
I haven't smelled the Eau de Parfum version of Habit Rouge.
Actually, no, I have. It is definitely thicker. It's
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So that's number one, and I managed to guess it. And I should tell everybody that was my favorite of the 5 that I sampled. Okay. So number 2, moving on to number 2, I'm just going to spray it on my hand. I got it now. I can't remember what. I think this was the first one that I sampled.
Yeah.
All right, so this is. I'm going to read out exactly what I wrote, okay? Because this is one where my opinion of it changed as it dried down, okay? So to me, it had like a fruity opening. My immediate thoughts were that it did seem generic, sort of masculine marketed department store, bit of Bleu de Chanel influence, but then it got a bit, there was more aquatic vibe to it. And then this strange thing happened. Like a few minutes in, I picked up a little bit of a sweetness in the base. Like I thought maybe, like it's that tonka note that's used a lot in a lot of department store perfumes. And then after that, for some reason, and I haven't worn it for a long time, it did remind me of Aqua di Gio a little bit as it dried down. And I found it weird that sweetness came in like a few minutes and then disappeared.
Excuse me.
I did make a note here that nothing I was smelling, and this is about 10, 15 minutes in, there was nothing I was smelling on here that smelled like natural to me. Like and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I couldn't really, pick out any particular notes or reminded me of a natural smell of anything.
Yeah.
And then I did make the comment that it did remind me of the type of thing that I'd expect a lot of young guys to be wearing at their school formal or prom for you guys in the States. And I don't recognize it as anything specifically, so I would never try and guess what it was because it reminded me of a lot of things, but nothing in particular. But then I did come back to say that the dry down of this was probably the best part of the whole, for me anyway, perfume. And it did last a long time on my skin as well. So it had good longevity and it got better. So that's why initially I didn't like it, just because I thought, this is a little bit too generic, but it did actually develop and get better as it dried down. So smelling it again, like I'm not too different to the notes that I made initially, but I don't know if it's something subconscious or psychological, but I'm more open to it. Like I'm not going stay away. Like so, but yeah. So they're my thoughts, and not really anything different. So I'm very curious because I know you told me that this is one you quite like. So I'm very curious to know what it is.
So yeah, I mean, where I live is, as you said to your watchers, your viewers, a different state from you. I'm more north and sort of almost subtropical. So fresh fragrances for me, the majority of the year, are more of a go-to than your cooler weather fragrances. So I've explored a lot of freshies as were available anyway since high school.
Yeah.
This was something that I discovered, I think, by accident at a chemist.
Did you tell me that this is discontinued as well?
Yeah, yes. Okay. Yeah. So it is Essenza di Zegna.
Ah, okay.
So it is.
I'm just going to write that in the comments so people. Essenza di Zegna.
So the main things I get when I wear this and when I smell it is lemon myrtle and cinnamon.
Okay. I wonder if that's the sweetness I was smelling, that cinnamon.
Yeah. So I think it's really well blended, in my opinion. And it's Jacques Cavalier, which I think he does freshies better than most, other than maybe John Claude Elena. But I think Jacques Cavalier is probably better.
Is there another one of his that you can name to give me an idea?
Jacques Cavalier, I mean, he's done Rive Gauche.
Okay, yeah.
What else? There's a heap. I'm pretty sure I've got a few from him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's done a bunch. I just can't name one off the top of my head.
Yeah, actually. I think the most recent one is a Louis Vuitton that people talk a lot about as a really good freshie, but I haven't tried that one. I think, he does freshies better than anyone. I'm pretty sure he had a hand in M7. The original M7. But I love wearing this. I think it's really classy. And as I said to you during the week, it is what I wanted Acqua di Gio to be, Bleu de Chanel to be. I think it still stands on its own. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So like I don't dislike it as much as my very first impressions. It's kind of the type that could grow on me. All right, let's move on to number 3. I think this one was one that I had kind of like I guess strongest reaction is not correct, but like it was. I'll read out my notes because even now it's doing it. So I literally wrote, the first things I wrote was, what is this smell? Because I don't know if this happens to other people. Do you know when a smell is so familiar to you, like it's kind of embedded in your subconscious, that when you smell it, you almost can't recognize it? It was a weird experience because I smelled this, okay, and I know you told me it wasn't, but then after a few minutes, I go, oh, of course, this like smells like eucalyptus or some type of eucalyptus, but like it could be, I guess what I'm more specifically, it smells quite medicinal, but medicinal in that, I don't know if it's the same in other countries in the world, but I know here in Australia, like a lot of the muscle ointments and creams that you use have this kind of scent, this scent in it, like eucalyptus or tea tree oil. I don't know if tiger balm has this smell either, but anyway, that's what it reminded me of. Okay. And I said, now I can't get the imagery of steam baths out of my mind. It does smell like an ointment to me. It does get better as it dries down. I got less of that mentholy thing going on. And then it got quite woodery, quite more woody. It was cedary to me, that kind of woody dry down. And then it got a little bit smoky, like cade smoke notes. And then I'll have to explain what I mean here. And then as it dried down, I wrote down, it got a bit too botanical for me. Like, so what I mean by that is it just felt like in the dry down, there was just a few, like, you know, because I mean, I've done this, and like, you know, you can get those essential oils from the pharmacy and stuff like that. And you pick a few of your favorite oils and then you kind of mix them together to see if you can come up with a blend. And then it kind of smells okay, but it smells like of nothing. And that's what I literally wrote down. The dry down is much better than the opening. Like, I preferred how it dried down. Although it's still like the pharmacy oils that you might put in an oil diffuser. Like, that's what it reminded me of. Like, and that's kind of all I wrote down. Smelling this now, right? Again, I'm more open to this, like I was with the previous one, the second time around. So this is pretty instructive. I think that first impressions are good, but this is why you always need to give perfumes multiple tries. Yeah. So this is, I've got a better impression of this from the first time, even though I'm still kind of smelling the same thing. So it might be a matter that I'm just more like, I know what to expect with this in a way. Like, you kind of mentally prepare yourself.
I think it's a grower for sure.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to find out what this is. Okay. All right.
So
go on. So
it's spruce tree, black spruce tree. That pine tree type of. It's more of an alpine scent. It's so interesting that you keep bringing up essential oils, because from what I understand, Tion, the perfumer, originally started aromatherapy before she got into perfumery, and I think a lot of her fragrances do tend to have that feel.
Yeah.
But this is the second oud fragrance that I've purchased from her, and I think she does oud really well. She uses mainly, I think, a Vietnamese oud, but she uses other types of oud as well. So I think what you're probably smelling is a combination of the spruce, the oud. There's resin in here. I forget what type of resin. And yeah, I haven't got it up on, but I love this. I actually think it's really manly. I think, you know what I mean? Like, that, add that moniker onto it. I think it smells. I mean, I saw some comparisons to it on Fragrantica to another fragrance I have. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you still have this, French Lover. I don't think it smells like French Lover.
I don't have it anymore. It doesn't smell like French Lover at all.
No. French Lover is different.
Yeah.
I have that right here.
Yeah.
It's not like French Lover. French Lover almost seems polite compared to this.
Right.
But it doesn't have oud.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
more, and yeah, as it develops and it dries down, you start going away from that mentholy, eucalyptus smell, and it starts to get more black. I think it gets darker, and I love it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's one of my yeah.
I definitely agree that the dry down is probably the best part of that one. But it's best I don't say too much more in case the video gets reported for being too negative. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna. So number 4, I think was the last one that I actually smelled.
Yeah.
And all right. So I'll just tell you now, as I spray it on, before I spray it on and smell it again, my first impressions were that this was my least favorite of the ones I smelled. Now,
Interesting.
I'm also going to go out on the limb as well and say you did tell me that you were going to put one in here that I probably will hate, and it has to be this one because the only notes I put in here, I'll literally read to you, actually smells straight up like Lynx deodorant. I can't make out any Lynx or Axe deodorant for those playing at home. I cannot make out any notes apart from a basic melange of amberwood aroma chemicals. I have definitely smelled this before, but it could literally be one of hundreds of perfumes. It smells like body spray. And that's all, and it still does.
Wow.
But this is this is interesting because if you let someone smell this who's not into perfumes, who hasn't smelled a lot of stuff, right? This is the type of thing they say, "Oh, you smell nice." It's just it. I get why it's a pleasant smell, and I get why this probably sells a lot of bottles. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
But God, it's so fucking boring. So fucking boring.
You ready?
Yeah.
It's Pep's favorite.
What's that? What is it? La Nuit de l'Homme? Oh my God. Are you serious?
And you can see how much I wear of it.
Oh wow.
This is from 2011.
Do you know I only ever smelled this once, and I don't even remember it. It was that long ago, so there was no way I was ever going to smell this and go, "Oh yeah, that's La Nuit de l'Homme." And now I'm guessing. Well, I mean, we all know why this is popular, because like I said, it smells pleasant, but I don't. Yeah, like I get why people like this, and some people even call this a masterpiece.
But I mean, you smell this, and then you smell this.
Yeah. Oh, holy shit!
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
But I remember like years ago being in one of our department stores here and having the girl hand this to me on a card.
Yeah.
But it was in its original form. Like this is in its original form. I think whatever they did in the original form was right, but whatever they did afterwards,
did you say your bottle's 2011?
11, yeah.
So what was the original
after? It's the year that they started to reformulate it.
Ah, okay. I mean, but could it be that different?
It's not that big a difference, but the dry down is definitely the dry down was the best part, in my opinion.
That's so.
But it's still pretty ordinary. It's so many. Do you know what I mean? For this fragrance that is the the ubiquitous, the infamous panty dropper, there's better fragrances for that application. If you're going to try to impress,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm a bit speechless. I'm a bit speechless to be honest, because you know, like, and you hear it talked about, especially from the people that like it and enjoy it. And if you never smelled it, you would assume it's one of these, you know, how there's in the designer world, there's, you know, probably a few you could call classics, you know, maybe from Yves Saint Laurent. You know, there's a couple you can include there. You know, obviously we're talking Khos from 40 years ago, but like, we all know that La Nuit de l'Homme is probably one of their best sellers. But I really expected it to be more than what I'm smelling. But you're right. The dry down is getting a little bit better. That it's that opening that, like I said, is. I wonder. I'm actually curious now. I wonder if a lot of those Lynx Axe body sprays actually sort of tried to mimic that smell, or it was the other way around.
Probably the other way around.
Yeah. Ah, all right. Okay, good. Well, there's my
Sorry
bomb
about
shot. There's my bomb shot. No, that's all right. That's all right. All right. So number 5. I'm running out of skin. I'm just going to spray this here. All right. So number 5. What did I write? So I actually thought the opening of this was really interesting and it got my attention. And it felt like what I wrote down was it felt like some kind of mix, leathery, boozy, woodsy, and none of those actually stick out too much. But like it's just what I imagine all of that mixed together would smell like. And then I got a hint of dark cocoa. Like now that I'm smelling this, it's like I'm smelling like, you know, that kind of rum booziness with a hint of dark cocoa in the background. And what's coming through, like my words here are dark liqueur stained leather, like someone spilled some liquor on leather. But then at some point, I realized that dark cocoa note was actually maybe patchouli, because the patchouli in here really starts to come through a lot more. And if I had to describe the texture of this one, it would all be like smooth. There's no kind of rough edges about it. However, once it dried down, it lost my interest a little bit. It ended up smelling like too much of just patchouli essential oil, which isn't a bad thing because I love patchouli, but there wasn't enough about the dry down that seemed perfumey to me. Like the opening was really interesting, but after 10-15 minutes, it essentially just dried down to a patchouli note to me. So it kind of lost my interest after about 20-30 minutes, but now that I'm smelling it, all I can smell is patchouli.
So
what's that one called?
Mokaya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you're going to get me black banned.
Why? This has got tobacco in it. This has patchouli, as you can smell, that I think is blended really with a really nice cacao. Looking up the notes, there's orange blossom in there, which you can probably smell. I smell orange blossom in there.
That's probably like that, yeah.
Vanilla, there's iris, there's a bit of jasmine, there's musk mallow, like vegetable musk. I think this is definitely a fragrance to wear, to enjoy for yourself. The very first thing that I thought of when I smelled this was Abraloup by Ranier.
Oh, okay.
But I think this is far superior to Ranier. It's got that feel of the Ranier, the Abraloup. I think this is what Amber Loop wants to be when it grows up. So I think this is definitely one of these fragrances that will smell better in open air, diffusing as sillage rather than to smell up close, because probably the density of the raw materials in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this 5 would represent a little a mix of unexpected and I don't know, different selections. I could have picked some other things, but
No. Well, it was really good, and like, I guess for me, the pleasing thing was that I could, like, I could definitely pick out the Habit Rouge flanker, and that was my favorite. And that I also could recognize the one that I would dislike the most. So everything in between is a bonus. But it's interesting, and I'm definitely not disappointed. Put it this way, I'm definitely not disappointed with my impressions and what they ended up being, and that's all I'll say.
Look, and if you were, like I said to you when we were chatting during the week, it really doesn't matter to me. It's it's interesting to me as sort of a hobbyist. I've culled my collection down.
How much?
From probably over, not that many in the scheme of collectors now, but I had over 60, I think.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm never wearing these. I'm basically wearing the same thing to work every day, and that's the most fragrance I wear. So I just culled down to, I think now, between 25 and 30 that I love. They're all loves for me.
Well, that's the important thing. I'm actually at like, I got down to 60 at the end of last year, but this year I've actually gotten a few bottles, and I've got 65 or 66. But I imagine by the end of the year it'll come down again. So I'm hoping not to let that get out of control. But yeah, like, the important thing is, like, looking at the bottles in front of you and saying, yeah, I
wear them,
love these, and if you don't, like, you just get rid of them. Or, mind you, there's several that I haven't been wearing because, as you know, it's winter here, and down here in particular, there's just some that like I'm actually putting aside just for summer, and like making myself like really look forward to wearing those perfumes. So I'm gonna ask you to stay on for a bit, because just in case anyone's got any questions about what we've been talking about, what I sampled, anything else perfume wise, and
I wish I'd sent you more samples now. I feel like that went really quick.
Well, we could do it again. And if anyone else, I know there's a couple of people in the chat. I know Michael Meyer sent me, there's something that's unidentified in a bunch of samples he sent, but by all means, if anyone wants to send me blind samples, I'm happy to do a video or live stream like this. You'll just have to give me time to get around to doing them. Now, I did have a question for you. So, could you safely name, like, probably your top 3 or 4, 5 favorite perfumes from your actual collection?
Yeah, probably. I brought a handful of things.
Yeah.
That just in prep for this, because I don't do this. I've done it once or twice with Cherie years ago.
Yeah.
But this, I would say Dior Homme, the original Dior Homme. Even in this black stem, I've got the silver stem and the black stem. My girlfriend calls it bisexual. That's her term for unisex. So, but she really likes it.
Yeah, that's my I used to have, that's one of the bottles that I sold, but not because I didn't like it. It's just because I was never feeling like wearing it. But the EDT, the original Dior Homme, black. I had a black stem. Was
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite. Was my
Yeah.
favorite of the whole line.
Yeah.
So Kate, I'm sure that you obviously suggested I try, but I haven't, and mainly because I haven't seen it like at any chemist warehouse or anything like that, which I'm assuming is where it would be sold. So yeah, my favorite from the samples that Khos sent me was definitely the Habit Rouge Rouge Privé Flanker. Almost as much to say that, and probably the fact that I would want a bottle. I might change my mind, but like I definitely feel like it's one that I need a bottle of at the moment.
Well, I almost tried to hunt down one of the first release. I think there's a few releases of the what was that Gourmand flanker? Dress Code.
Oh yeah.
But I wish. No, I'm glad I didn't. Oh, not that it would have been the worst thing, but I prefer.
But did you find that one smelled like? Did it remind you of Habit Rouge?
I smelled it from someone else's bottle. I do remember it being very sweet and sort of praline as the dominant accord in it. That would almost, I think, overpower its DNA, its original DNA, because it's already a vanilla-y fragrance as one of its core components.
Yeah.
But I just have to say, shout out to Kate. Kate got me into TRNP, and I'm so glad that she did. I know it's not everyone's taste, but I think, and the perfumer is in my city, so
lucky you.
Hooray for local talent.
Kate, I'm so sorry. I'll have to go and look in my sample stash to see where that silver is, because if you sent it to me, I must have it somewhere. Sorry. It's such a curse having so many samples.
So the other thing that I don't get often an opportunity to wear out of my favorites is Royal Oud.
Oh yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
It's super strong though. Like it's a one spray job, maybe two. If you're going to.
How old is your bottle?
Oh, that's from release year. I'm very lucky. That's
okay.
from 2000. Well, I think release year in Australia, 2011. So
yeah,
I think this was a late 2010 release from Creed.
Okay, because I have tried Royal Oud, and it's probably my favorite of all the Creeds I've tried.
It's so good.
But I'm not sure how old my sample was, because
I think it's one of the ones that's changed. I don't think it's changed that much. I remember smelling something just even a few years ago. I think it's one of the ones that Creed hasn't gone cheap on. I don't know now, because I heard last week that Creed's changed hands again. The parent company has changed again.
I think.
Yeah. So
yeah, something like that.
So I mean, I don't really mess with Creed anymore.
And prices are probably going to.
I tell you what I've tried recently that I was a little bit disappointed with is Tom Ford Noir.
Okay.
So I've been wanting to get this for ages. It's too clean. Does that mean I want things that smell dirty? I don't know.
Well, what is it supposed to smell like? What are the note pyramids for it?
I mean,
I'll look it up.
It's powdery and it's sort of a bit soapy. It's supposed to be an amber, but I think it's a little too sweet for my taste anyway. I already have the flanker in that, which I prefer is the sweet fragrance.
Is that that's the Noir?
That's the Noir Extreme.
Yeah, the Noir Extreme. I know. Yeah, that's the kind of gourmandy one. It's got a big notes list.
Mm-hmm.
Violet, pink pepper, vervain, caraway, bergamot, rose, iris.
I mean, some people say that it's kind of it's Tom Ford's take on Abbey Rouge, but I don't really smell Abbey Rouge in it.
Oh, okay. Let's have a look. I have you smelled Purple Suede by Goldfield and Banks?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I don't think I'm a Goldfield and Banks customer.
Yeah. I haven't smelled that one, but I did have a sniff of, because anytime a perfume comes out with, you know, promoting ginger and stuff, I'm very interested. And I did smell their most recent release, which I think is called Ingenious Ginger, and I thought it was okay, like nice. It was like a good opening, but I didn't smell enough ginger. I want more ginger.
I think they do have a particular style. Almost like if I could compare it to a watercolor painter.
Okay.
Yeah. I find them very light. I know that they do have a couple of ambers and woodier fragrances, but I found their stuff to be quite, more of that, not as an aquatic genre, but watery.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Am I going to get you banned? Am I going to?
No. They don't. None of these people watch me, so it's
no. Okay.
We're allowed to speak freely here. We're not. You know,
I don't think that they're like. I certainly don't think that they're garbage or anything. But I just, you know what I mean. You sometimes, even if I go with my partner to Mecca when she's buying makeup or whatever, I just go and smell the things that I'm familiar with, like the lines that they have, like Maison Margiela. And yeah, I'm reminded that's not really a brand for me, or you know that. That
I
style.
did have Maison Margiela. I've sniffed a bit in store, and I did actually have decants of By the Fireplace. You know, the popular ones, By the Fireplace and Jazz Club, and you know, like they were just so. You know, like it was really hard to.
I always got this kind of underlying plasticky note. Like kind of like I remember my sister's Barbie dolls used to smell like they have this latexy, plasticky.
That's very interesting. Which one? All of them? You think you smell it in all of them?
Yeah, there's some underlying DNA in my nose. It's my scent association. Almost to the point that it kind of bothers me sometimes when I read or I hear people go, "Oh, this is incredible and this is amazing." I'm going, really?
So does that mean that your that Tom Ford Noir is something that you might look to sell or like sort of move on at some point?
I don't think I'd wear it. I'm not taken by it. Like it smells it's very pleasant. It almost has what's the fragrance something? It kind of has a feel of oud wood to it.
Okay.
I smell a little bit of oud wood in it.
Yeah. I've kind of found with Tom Ford, and I don't own any, but like the last one, I know that you love Grey Vetiver, and I also really liked Grey Vetiver, but once I got the Guerlain Vetiver, like I didn't feel like I needed the Tom Ford anymore. That's so you've got a vintage ribbed bottle. That's excellent. Kate, I'm assuming she means Comme des Garçons fragrances, unless it's something else obvious. But do you have any favorites from Comme des Garçons?
I had Two Man, and I sold Two Man to buy what I thought was going to be my Grail fragrance, and it's funny. It's one of those be careful what you wish for. That's another story. But yeah, Two Man I enjoy. But I sold it to buy an EDT of Sycamore, Chanel Sycamore.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know how much you like that one.
Well, I think, I touched on it. I told you to, we can mention it again now or on live, that it's one I think to be careful of because it does have a good chunk, or it seems like has a good chunk of vetiver oil in there.
Yeah.
And that, I think, with a bottle or any bottle, it's eventually going to age. And the EDT that I got, and I got it full presentation, and from a reliable seller, secondhand. It smelled like the EDP. It smelled like the recent exclusives.
Okay.
I was so disappointed. I want that black, sparkly, kind of effervescent opening, and it's the sexiest part of the fragrance. But
Yeah, right.
I was like, this smells like the EDP,
I could have saved some money. Did it cost you a lot more?
I actually got a great price because I knew the guy.
Yeah.
Sort of, I think. Or yeah. So I was familiar. I'd bought from the person before, so he was great about pricing. I'm glad I didn't pay more for it.
At least you got it. You could probably make money on it now.
Oh, it's gone, and yeah, I sold it to a friend for what I bought for it, and yeah, that's
okay.
He enjoys it. He's got a great collection. Yeah. So.
My favorite Comme des Garçons has to be Two Man as well, because it's kind of the only one that I own. I still like. I'm probably going to wear it today, actually. So yeah, I think this is a common read. While when we were talking about the vanilla or that synthetic plasticky smell in Maison Margiela. All those incense ones. Have you had a chance to smell that incense series for Comme des Garçons?
I haven't.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to smell them when I was in Japan, actually, and I just forgot about it. Like, there's so much shopping, especially like if you go to Tokyo. It's almost overwhelming, but I'm still curious. I love to sample. What's the one that you have? That I think it's the darling of the line.
Avignon.
Avignon, yeah. Everyone's favorite.
Yeah, I actually don't have that one anymore. That's one.
Really?
I sold. Yeah, and again, I didn't dislike it, but it was so. Because it's just to me, it's like, obviously there are other things in it, but it's basically full-blown frankincense with a bit of labdanum, but it's such a specific smell. I didn't find it like I could wear it in very different situations. Like, I had to be really in the mood to wear it, and I don't want to keep bottles of perfume that are like that. I might have to revisit Hinoki now, because I'm like the sound, the smell of a sauna is something I want to smell.
I think this is a staple. I think everyone should own a bottle of that.
That's one I sold as well.
I think, yeah. This is one of the fragrances that I get really good, enthusiastic, sort of unsolicited compliments to.
Yeah.
I know I get the, what are you wearing? What is that?
Yeah. I've had compliments with that one too. Yeah. Only a couple, but a couple is a lot for me.
It's a great one in cooler weather, but I think it's just as good in hotter weather as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, and it's also arguably probably the best thing Andy Tower has done. Some people like the Au Cours du Desert, but I've smelled most of his stuff, and nothing's come close.
Lone Star Memories. I really like Lone Star Memories because it takes this number 2 in that leathery direction.
Mm.
I'm surprised.
Do you have a bottle of that?
No. It would be something I would get if there was a partial available. Yeah, there's a few that you've still influenced me to think about purchasing. I've bought a bunch of these because of your channel.
Well, but the important thing is that you still like them, and that's like, I said, a lot of the bottles that I have moved on, like the main driver is that I wanted to reduce the bottles I had. So like, and if I don't dislike any of the bottles I have, then I've got to like I had to be like kind of really tough or really strict about what I wanted to keep, and it had to be just stuff that I knew I was going to miss if I didn't have it. And so far, everything I've gotten rid of, like I've sold probably I've sort of gone through over 100 bottles that I owned at one point and now don't own, and I don't have any regrets about any of them. I haven't felt the urge to rebuy anything either. So yeah, so I guess like I've done something right in terms of curating my wardrobe.
Do you own this, or have you had this?
I have had that as well. Yeah. That particular bottle, because I think the new versions are in a different bottle as well.
So I think there's 2 iterations of it since this, the 4-digit YSL Parfums version, which, and apparently it's gotten less and less incense-y.
Yeah, so I like that one there. Interestingly enough, I do remember it having incense, but there was also a eucalyptus note in that one that I didn't mind too much.
I don't think it's overpowering at all.
No, I think that's is it Anik Menado that's a perfumer for that one? Yeah. That's yeah. So I love a lot of her stuff.
This I picked up recently. I've been looking for an older bottle of this. This brings back such good memories.
So is this one of the like perfumes of your youth when you were going out a lot?
Yeah, early 20s. Yeah.
Is that particular Armani code discontinued?
No, so they have changed it now at least twice, if I'm aware. It came in that Kenzo style vase bottle. And then I think there was a change when they put a collar around it, almost like a cummerbund.
Okay.
And now they've gone for this uniform bottles, just like similar to, they look like the Sauvage bottles.
Okay. Do you know Armani code, that line in particular is just one I've never actually tested or sampled. There's a lot of perfumes like that. Gail wants to know specifically your first scent memories and actually what got you into perfume in general. Would you like to share?
Yeah, that's fine. They're 2 different things. I remember even as young as first few years of schooling, the teachers. I have been trying to find what this smell was, what one of my first teachers wore back then, all the way back then. And I still haven't been able to find it. I just want to walk past a woman that's wearing it, but I doubt it's something that is still worn. But I remember our teacher in the classroom used to wear something, and it sticks with you. It's the part of your brain that deals with scent also processes memory as well. What got me into fragrances? I think as I started to get older, I used to smell what the men were wearing when my parents would have dinner guests over, or we would go to dinner somewhere. And do you know what it was? I found out what it was, and it was always the same. It was what the men within at least my cultural ethnicity were wearing, and it's Eau Sauvage, the original Eau Sauvage.
The Eau de Toilette. Yeah, lovely.
The Eau de Toilette. It used to hang in the air in the hallways, in the living room, and the sillage was so strong that it would meet you. You knew almost. I think I remember associating that it was dinner guest time, when that smell would waft in through the door. So yeah. So Sauvage is sort of embedded in me, and I think it's kind of why I can't wear it personally because of
Oh,
that.
that's interesting. Because I had the same. I had a similar connection with Habit Rouge. Like I'm sure that I had some
I think I
male.
remember hearing you say that.
Yeah, and so it was definitely a smell I remembered from being a kid. But like I had no issues with wearing it myself. So it's asking. So which one was your favorite of the 5 samples that you
Of
sent
the
me?
samples, probably the Habit Rouge.
Yeah, Rouge Privé.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would wear that in most situations, whereas the Essenza Disegno I would only wear in summer, and I would probably wear it if I was going to the beach or something casual. It has that feel about it.
Can you hold up the bottle? Just I want to because it is a pretty stunning looking bottle, actually.
That's the box.
Yeah,
the bottle.
I just love the red.
Yeah,
Look at that.
I've come around to the design, and it's got the double G on the cap.
Nice.
It's a solid bottle. Like these are.
Yeah. Now, Catch My Whiff. You should try to reach out to her family to ask what she used to wear.
Oh, it's in another country now. I don't know where she's long gone. Like that teacher, yeah. I don't live in the same city.
Do you care to share what your culture?
Oh yeah, that's it. My name should give it away. It's the most Iranian name that there is. Yeah. I've only met.
Were you born in Australia or?
No, I was born there, but I was an infant when we left.
Yeah. All right. Have you got any other bottles that you haven't shown us that you brought with you?
Yeah, there's one that I'm wondering, particularly because of your Italian ancestry, whether you've tried. This was gifted to me, and I wish I would wear it more often. It's one of those, when I wear it, I wish I'd wear it more often.
Is that but is that the Uomo version, or is that the?
Yeah, this is the original Uomo. Yeah.
I've actually got a vintage mini of that I have not tried. So
it's so good.
All right, cool. That's one.
You know what I reckon it is? I reckon it's the original L'Homme Ideal cologne. It has that creamy orange.
Okay. I'm gonna I've
Whereas
definitely
the
got
L'Homme Ideal cologne is more grapefruit creamy smell. This is orange.
I'm just looking it up. I've definitely got a mini of a vintage version of that because I've only ever smelled the Roma Uomo, but that's not the Uomo, right?
No, that's the men's one.
Yeah. Oh, that one that you've got.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So
the women's one was the original.
I've got a mini.
I hear that's incredible as well.
But... Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we cleared that up. All right. Well, I'm going to give people in the chat a chance to ask any last questions. We've gone over an hour, which to me is a sweet spot for live streams, like 2 hours max for me. Otherwise, it gets out of hand. But otherwise, if you enjoyed the stream, guys, feel free to like it. So
I think you should do this more often, Pat, with
show you
other people.
The
blind thing is always fun.
Yeah, so I'm more inclined to do it. Look, I like that idea, and I'd be happy to do it with people that I've kind of gotten to know. Like I wouldn't let just anyone on the stream, like what happens in other streams. So I'd need to get to know you online at least first before. So but I'm happy to do that because just because you don't have just because you don't have a YouTube channel or your Instagram's not just about perfumes doesn't mean it's not any more interesting. All right. Oh, okay. We've got one last question. Do you have favorite houses, or is it more dependent on the actual
Guerlain
perfume?
is probably the closest because I have the most fragrances within my collection from them. I would say them, but I think my favorite perfumer doesn't come from Guerlain. So,
Who is your favorite perfumer? Did you mention
I
that already?
love Ted Hermes. So
Okay,
I
Jean-Claude.
love Jean-Claude Helena. I like what Jean-Claude Helena did with some flankers of their old releases as well.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah.
Are you curious about his upcoming Frederic Malle release, the newest?
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
So Frederic Malle is releasing a new perfume called Heaven Can Wait, and Jean-Claude Helena is the perfumer.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about what the notes are. Oh, that's all I literally know. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, Khos, for sending me the samples, giving me the. I love blind sniffing, and like I recommend it to anyone who gets the chance to do it. Is that your dog in the background?
He's ready for his walk.
All right, okay, I'll let you go. So thanks everyone for joining us, asking questions. Khos, lovely to see you.
Yeah, cheers, and
we'll talk soon. All right.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Ciao.